Let's have a look at Prospekt, shall we? Prospekt is a sequel to Half-Life Opposing Force, a Half-Life spin-off where you play the US Marine Adrian Shepard, who is sent over to Black Mesa to cover up the whole incident. But when you're interested in Half-Life Prospekt, I'm sure you already know the story of Half-Life and Half-Life Opposing Force, so let's move on to today's topic. When I saw the hype around this supposed Half-Life Opposing Force sequel, I became skeptical because usually great mods throw around tons of work in progress material, pictures and trailers, you know? Well, Prospekt took a different path, and it suddenly appeared in the Steam store for 10 bucks. Well, I thought it can't be that bad, cause Valve just doesn't give their blessing to anything, right? Well, my previous skepticism was proven to be right. Seabrook, who's just 25, promises that Prospekt will feature 13 new levels, substantial graphical updates, and a storyline that is comparable to Half-Life 2 Episode 1 in length. The game actually started live as a job application that Seabrook sent to Valve to prove his mettle as level designer. That plan might not have worked out for him, but Prospekt is currently available to pre-order on Steam for $10. In many ways, a more impressive achievement. Yeah, impressive in the sense that he's actually making money with this, but the game itself is not that impressive. And after playing it, this was my reaction.
What the f*** is this? I got ripped off!
And I'm going to tell you why. But to be fair, let's go through the positive things first. As many people have pointed out, I agree, the soundtrack is great. It enhances the game's experience by a landslide, and it simply sounds good. Also, the voice acting is good from a quality standpoint. Another nice thing about this game, in many places the source engine is pushed to the limit and it looks great. Though you can really see that the source engine is getting old. Cube maps may look great in some areas, but it destroys the great look when a reflection just suddenly ends. Sometimes a bit less is actually more. And another pro, yeah, the idea is interesting. Playing as Adrian Shepard again is cool, and this is what actually got me to buy this game in the first place. Also, a seller for me was going back to Xen. I thought they will be interesting. I enjoyed the short trips to Xen in a Half-Life Opposing Force, and I was really looking forward to see Xen again. And this is the point in the review where I start to listen to disappointments. The Xen level is incredibly short and serves no actual purpose whatsoever. It's simply fan service. You could have simply put a hallway in its place. You come out of a portal, jump, run and shoot some combines and go into the next portal. It's simply there to say, look, we have this cool feature here. Why not more of this? Jumping around on a foreign planet with low gravity is fun. And to be honest, this was the most interesting and fun part of the game to me. So next time, more of this. I also mentioned as a pro point that the engine is pushed to the limit, and in some places it looks really pretty. In some other places, however, the levels don't look that good in relation to details. And even in the places where they do, they often are just copy and paste. The places lack weathering and it looks simply too clean for an old prison. And the lack of detail aside, the maps are not done professionally. Creating a level and just surrounding it with a gigantic skybox and having large brushes that cover the entire map is not professionally. Also, no hint brushes and too little use of the no-draw texture. All this drags down the performance massively, and this explains the FPS drops some people complained about. The gameplay itself is standard Half-Life 2 gameplay. At some point you pick up a crowbar and suddenly your HEV suit / combat vest appears out of nowhere, and from there on it's basically Half-Life 2 with different levels. And these levels are hallway after hallway, wave after wave, shooting Combine soldiers, unlocking doors, and in most cases you will be encountered by Combine soldiers with a machine gun. The game is pretty hard compared to an original Half-Life, not because of the puzzles you have to solve, that's usually just pressing buttons or instant kill traps. Except for some puzzles earlier in the game, which have also proven to be a disappointment. When I entered this room I thought, oh nice, that could be tricky, you know, like that storage facility in Half-Life 1, where when you touch one of the laser mines, the whole place blows up. But this here could be solved by just letting one mine after another explode. But back to what makes this game difficult. The developer lets the enemies spawn in endless numbers, or just deploys all Combine soldiers with increased health, making them annoying bullet sponges. When a shotgun blast to the head doesn't kill a human-like enemy, on normal difficulty, something is wrong. And it seems at one point the developer realized that, because the maps are overstocked with health kits to a level that it just looks ridiculous. The developer said it's comparable to Half-Life 2 Episode 1 in length. Yeah, no. Episode 1 takes about 4 hours, and some speedrunners made it down to about 30 minutes. Half-Life Prospekt, however, took me 95 minutes in the first playthrough, and that included a breakfast break. And the game would have been a lot shorter if not for all the places where nothing happens. Way too many elevators just take forever. And you have exactly this several times in the game, but without the music. Or what's also annoying, it's the unskippable 5-minute intro. I really hate games with an unskippable intro in the second playthrough. And do you remember that amazing wall breach from the trailer? This one? Boom! I guess that was supposed to be a nostalgic moment for the fans of the original opposing force. You know, the pioneer guy cutting through the door. This is the moment in the actual game. Action! Woo!
Few inches later. 6.5 hours later.
They're coming! Meh. Conclusion: this game is too short. Another statement: 13 levels. I just counted 9. In case it counts all the maps included in the game, it's even 14 levels. And if you count the main menu background, it's even 15. So yeah, why not just say you have 15 levels? A point raised by many people: there are no new weapons, and that sucks. Because Half-Life Opposing Force back in the days introduced some amazing weapons. In Prospekt there are even fewer than in Half-Life 2. And the developer may say, oh well, there's no place to introduce the new weapons. Do you remember the Displacer and how it was introduced in Half-Life Opposing Force? It literally fell from the skies. Ouch. Why not take a similar approach here? I took the liberty to modify the Xen level and give it a purpose. Introducing abandoned Black Mesa survey equipment. I basically ripped the stuff from Half-Life Blue Shift, but it's done for demonstrational purposes only here. Also, I added some of the original Xen vegetation from Half-Life Source. It really does look better now, doesn't it? And look what we've got here. A Black Mesa gun. Why not introduce one this way? And to solve the ammunition problem for the rest of the game, hey, you are on a spaceship. It wouldn't be so unbelievable to find some radioactive material to fire this baby. Well, it would have been cool if the game had introduced some new stuff, or even old stuff, like the pipe wrench or the displacer. You know, the pipe wrench is just the opposing force counterpart for the crowbar, it just has to be in this game. Or to pep up the story, why not show some Race X versus Combine action? The portals to the Race X homeworld to Earth were closed, but who knows what's going on outside of our solar system? Maybe there's a raging war between the Combine and the Race X. Well, you know, the Race X, the main enemy from Half-Life Opposing Force. They are not mentioned once. The actual story of Prospekt is told by flashbacks, which always come along with a bright filter.
Shepard, huh? Welcome to the HCU, man.
These bright flashbacks, which consider many people very annoying, would have been okay in my opinion if they would have told us a bit more substantial stuff about the Half-Life story. At most important, it would have been okay if they would not interfere with combat situations. This is really annoying. The storytelling generally is a problem, because there's not much storytelling in the game. The flashbacks don't further the progress of the story, and during the entire game there's no interaction with a friendly NPC at all. And besides shooting, no interaction with enemies. All you know about the story is told by the Vortigaunts in the beginning, telling you to aid Freeman in Nova Prospekt. But the Nova Prospekt theme quickly turns into being teleported around until you end up in a Combine spaceship. By the way, during the teleportation you are ported to some cold place, presumably in Russia, to a church to some places from Half-Life 2 and in front of a train. Why not back to the ruins of Black Mesa? That would have actually been interesting to look at. The whole game ends in a grand finale of pressing 4 buttons to overheat the reactor core to ultimately blow up the ship, I assume. Then the G-Man comes, kills some Vortiguns, gives you the evil eye, and then it's done. All in all, not a good game. The developer wasted most of the potential. And now he asked what shall be changed to make this game better, which is pretty much admitting that the game is not good. It seems the game has not been playtested, or only by people who applauded him for it. And please spare me with, oh, don't be so harsh on Prospekt, it's just a mod done by one guy. Well, as soon as you charge people money, you lose the oh, it's the mod bonus. You charge money and you have to be held up to the same standards as anyone else who is charging money. And if nothing changes, I suggest you stay away from this game. At its current price of 10 euros, dollars or whatever, it is way too expensive for what you get. In my opinion, it's pretty much riding on the Half-Life nostalgia train, and people are so crazy for Half-Life 3 they just buy anything. Black Mesa Source compared to this is a AAA game, and if you want to spend money on something, spend it on this. Or just save the money you planned on spending for Prospekt, or just give it to charity or something. Anything's better. Do you have any opinion on this game? Tell us in the comment section down below. We are pretty much done with Prospekt. If there are any major changes, we will keep you up to date. Surprises are always possible. If you want to play something good from the Half-Life universe, check out Half-Life Decay and the leaked Half-Life Alpha. Links are here or in the description down below. Until next time, goodbye and guten Tag.